everybody. I'm your Commissioner Thad Williams, and we are here previewing the Anarchy Team Tournament. Me and Christian Harloff over here, former champ. How you doing, Christian?
I'm doing great, Commish. It is the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, Ultimate Schmoedown Tournament, and you came up with a great idea that you did about switching it all up. It was brilliant.
A lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was brilliant what you came up with.
Yes, it was all me.
Yeah, it was all you. And your idea of doing the Inner Geekdom tournament this year, absolutely stellar idea that came up with.
The Inner Geekdom tournament went really well.
It went great. I'm glad you came up with it.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to be previewing the Ultimate Schmoedown Teams Tournament. Now, you guys are going to get the brackets that you have been waiting for, and you will submit these brackets in. We will have the Schmoedown Tournament at gmail.com, Schmoedown Tournament at gmail.com. You will submit your brackets, and you might get a nice little prize. The first person who guesses correctly who will win the tournament. And, man, we have a lot of crazy teams that were matched up in this bizarre tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the sorting hat did some really weird stuff, and there's some old favorites. There's a lot of new players, some great new managers, and the pairings are really, really hilarious.
All right, let's go over the left side of the bracket here. Here is the left side of the bracket, starting the whole tournament off on September 8th, which you guys can still get tickets to. You go to schmoedownlive.com at the El Portal Theater, 7 p.m. The first match of the tournament sees Marshall, that's right, Winston Marshall, and sassy Stacey Howard taking on the former champion and team champion, the outlaw John Roca, and his partner, the former two-time singles champion, Dangerous Dan Murrell. Man,
that is a heavy-hitting team right there. Roca and Murrell. We knew that Dan Murrell was going to be in that live event. We didn't know who his partner was going to be, and for it to end up being John Roca, I mean, they're going to be a force to reckon with, I think.
I mean, you have to call them the favorites of the tournament. I mean, from just the pure everything that they've done, the way that they play the game, the history, the titles that they've held, the fact that they're in the same faction. The real question is how Murrell is going to come back from that devastating loss against Andrew Guy in the collision. But nonetheless, then you have to look out for Marshall and Howard, because Stacey Howard has proven that she can hang with the best of them. So we'll see what happens. My pick in that match, I'm going to go Roca and Murrell.
Yeah, I mean, they are definitely the favorites. I think that Stacey Howard is not someone to second guess. I'm really looking forward to seeing what she and Marshall can do together.
All right, so you're picking Roca and Murrell. You're not going to say anything as your commissioner?
Yeah, I'm going to try to stay as impartial as possible.
You're a real weasel. Now we're going to get to our next match in that bracket. That is a newcomer here, Rachel Sylvestrini. That's right, Rachel Sylvestrini is entering the league, and she will be paired with Devon Stewart from the Kingsmen. Devon Stewart from the Kingsmen, and they will be going up against your best friend, Mike Kalinowski and Chance Ellison. We mentioned Chance Ellison coming in here. Nobody knew who the hell this kid was, but once the Schmoedown community got a word that this kid was joining, and it was like the Messiah was coming.
Yeah, I mean, his reputation precedes himself, even though I did not know who he was when I pulled his name out of the hat. I think that Mike Kalinowski has shown an amazing growth as a player throughout this Inner Geekdom tournament.
True.
I think that Sylvestrini is going to be a very interesting person to watch, showing up in her debut here in the team tournament. As far as Ellison's concerned, I really don't know what to expect from him, but everyone seems to be really, really impressed by what he can show. So I'm curious to see what it's going to be like under the lights.
Yeah, Chance Ellison was they had fan leagues that kind of built to hopefully one day get to the Schmoedown, and Chance Ellison won every single belt in these fan leagues that there were. He is a 20-year-old kid. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's one of those Arizona kids, but how is he going to work here with Kalinowski? We'll find out. But the other thing is with Sylvestrini, she fills in for Breanne Chandler, who was supposed to be with Devon Stewart.
Right.
There were a lot of switch-ups and a lot of things kind of happening that will maneuver here, but those are the teams. I'm going to go with Kalinowski and Ellison because I think Sylvestrini's brand new. It's always hard for me to bet on a rookie that I've never seen, and Devon Stewart's been good, not great.
That's fair. I would say Ellison is also a rookie in the actual Schmoedown itself, so I think it might be a little bit more even-keeled. But I think that Mike Kalinowski definitely is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. All right. So then we drop down here. William the Beast Viviani, the Movie Trivia Schmoedown champion of the world, William the Beast Viviani, teams up with his former horseman, Mighty Matt Nost, and they had not been getting along towards the end of that run, so that's going to be interesting. And now another switch up here. Ethan Irwin, who was supposed to be with Janine The Machine, is now going to be with Sabina Graves. Thad, why the switch up with Irwin?
Well, unfortunately, Ethan Irwin had some scheduling problems, and the day that we had scheduled this match between these four players, he could not be here in any way, shape, or form, and we looked through as many options as we possibly could, and we realized that the only way to keep him in the tournament was to repair him. So we put him together with Graves. I think that the two of them should be a formidable team, but they're going up against the champion.
They're going up against the champion and the former team champion in Matt Nost. Matt Nost is a veteran of this game, one of a Hall of Fame team player for sure, and William Viviani having a hell of a year, clearly the comeback player of the year. He was the MVP in the free-for-all. He beats Jeff Schneider, and he beats Mark Andreyko to become the champion, and here he is now. All right, now you drop down, and you got Mark Riley, who's got a match coming up here very soon against Andrew Guy. And we found it again from Mike Kalinowski that Mark Riley, with 2 victories, finds himself in a potential title match here. But now he is paired up with Ben, the Boss Bateman, and their manager of Tom Dagnino. That alone is an interesting combination. They're going to be going up against Zipper. That's right, Eric Zipper and Haley Fouch, both having great, very strong seasons here as rookies. Yeah. Haley Fouch is 2-0 in her Schmoedown team career so far, and Zipper got himself to a #1 contender match, did pretty well in the Inner Geekdom tournament, did well in the free-for-all. I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete with 2 superstars like Riley and Bateman.
I think the biggest question with Riley and Bateman is, can they work together? Can Bateman put aside the ego that he's known for in team action to actually work with a horseman in Mark Riley? Mark has been out of the game for a bit. They're going to be back together for the first time. I'm not sure if they can play nice, but hopefully they can, and if they can, it's going to be a hard team to beat.
It's going to be a hard team, especially with the wild card of Dagnino. Dagnino hasn't had – when Dagnino came on as a manager, he was on fire. He won 2 years in a row as manager of the year, and then he has been disastrous the last 6-7 months. He hasn't every person he picked up, every team he had just lost. So he's got to get a team going, and this could be an interesting team. I'm going to take Riley and Bateman, and jumping back to the Viviani, Nost, and Irwin and Graves, I'm going with the upset. I'm going with Irwin and Graves over Viviani and Nost in that match.
That's an interesting call. I mean, my biggest excitement about that match is that we only need to set 3 chairs up because William will not sit in a chair.
Not anymore. Well, why would you after the success he's having? All right, other side of the bracket, you've got the Schneider, Jeff Schneider, and Mark Andreyko, his former Lions Den stablemate, who are then going up against Scott Mance and Sean Gerber. Sean Gerber, who has really learned this game, and he's become a guy who's very enthusiastic about the game, with Scott Mance, who hit or miss, could play the game of his life and you have a match against Bateman, or he could have a match like Hal Rudnick. You don't know the kind of match. He was that close to winning a team championship, so he's a solid player. But Schneider, former team champion, Andreyko, an actor's name away from being the Movie Trivia Schmoedown champion, having a hell of a year. This is a solid team, especially with Roxy Stryer as their manager.
Yeah, absolutely agree, Christian. I think Mance is coming off that stunning defeat against Ben Bateman. He lost his own wheel slice. I think he's got a lot to prove. But then you've got Schneider and Andreyko, and again, it comes to the thing: can they work together as a team? I hope they can. I hope Schneider can put aside the Patriots' bravado to work with his former teammate and his former stablemate,
yeah.
Excuse me, his former stablemate Mark Andreyko, but Scott Mance is really gunning for that win.
Yeah, he really wants it. I mean, he needs some revenge against Schneider, and then it's just a matter of how Andreyko and Schneider are going to go. But I do think that they're going to get it together. These are 2 of the best players. Schneider, who has lost 3 matches in a row and looked terrible against Viviani, he needs a win, and he lost obviously that last match against the above the line at Collision. He needs a win here. I am going to go with Schneider and Andreyko. I think that they are going to work together pretty well. I think that they're both very knowledgeable, and I don't think Mance and Gerber will be able to keep up. All right, now this is where we get tricky here. Alonzo Duralde and Matt Atchity are, I think, a team that people are sleeping on. These are 2, they worked on What the Flick together. Duralde hasn't played in about a year and a half. Matt Atchity was a sudden death question away from being team champion. I think is a solid team. Now, here's the tricky thing. Janine The Machine was going to be playing with Ethan. We find out that Ethan couldn't, so she needed to get matched up. She took the spot of Rachel Cushing, and Andrew Guy was supposed to be her partner.
Right.
But we've got some breaking news here, Thad.
Well, yeah, Andrew Guy came to me, and he said he was so upset that Rachel was no longer going to be his teammate because the Shirewolves won the team championship, and are the current team champions. He said that he would not work for Jay Washington.
Wow.
He did not want to deal with him. Their personalities just were oil and water. He didn't want a new teammate. He just stepped away altogether and decided he was not going to compete in this tournament at all.
Andrew Guy is not going to be in the tournament, but he's got a match against Mark Riley that puts him in title contention because, like Mike Kalinowski said, it's a 2-victory thing. Whoever wins, now you've got John Roca and Ben Bateman. The winner of that airs on Friday. The winner of that match will play the winner of Mark Riley and Andrew Guy, and the winner of that will get a shot at William the Beast Viviani. So Guy is now focusing just on the singles. He will not be in the team tournament. Breaking news here, and now enter Brian Walton. Brian Walton, formerly of Nerdist, is entering this tournament here, and now you've got Janine the Machine and Walton with Jay Washington managing. And the other breaking news here is that you, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know Jay Washington was very excited to manage Ethan Irwin. You're letting him take both the team of Ethan Irwin and Graves and Machine and Walton. Jay Washington managing 2 teams.
Yes, he came to me and said with the Machine all by herself without Rachel Cushing as her partner, and then losing Andrew Guy, he came to me and said he wanted to manage Janine and whomever her partner ended up being. I told them it was going to be Brian Walton. And then they decided that, yes, he would split his time and manage both teams.
Wow. All right, so there you go. So you got Machine and Walton against Duralde, and actually Walton's got to be a really, really incredible rookie here to come in the tournament and win. I think Machine has showed that she is a force to be reckoned with, but Duralde and Atchity to me just seem a little too strong, so I'm going Duralde and Atchity on that one. This next bracket here. JTE and Lon Harris, who I already got their team name, which they're going to apparently be called the Evil Geniuses, which I think is perfect.
That is perfect.
And JTE, the former team champion, going with the professor, Lon Harris, who showed with that match against Ethan how much he knows. A match against Cody Hall that was also equally impressive. And JTE, who has coming off of 2 straight losses in teams. This is an interesting matchup to me, and they're going to be going up against the Wildberries. So what do you need to say about the Wildberries?
I mean, they were the only team that didn't get broken up by this randomization. In true Makuga fashion, It just luck happened, and Makuga and Elliot are back together, and they're managed by Ricky Hayberg,
right? Which
is really interesting because the last time we saw Ricky and Elliot together, they split up
in that post interview
because they were a team at one point, and so that should be interesting. But whether or not any of them care enough to hold any bad blood, I'm not sure.
And we're going to see what the Wildberries are more interested in, drinking or winning the tournament. We're going to find out. But Lon Harris and JTE are going to be tough. I got to go with Harris and JTE. I mean, the question of how they're going to get along together, I don't know. But Harris and JTE to me seem like a very dangerous team. Last bracket here, or excuse me, the last bracket we have McWeeny, who now will be teamed up with Breanne Chandler now that we know that the Shirewolves are the champions. They have the titles. And Breanne Chandler, who put up a valiant effort but didn't get it done there in the title match, she is now going to be paired with the Godfather, the former team champion, and they will be going up against Whitney, Seibold, and Hewick. That's right. Hewick, who you know as the movie geek, is coming in here, and he is going to, hopefully, we have a lot of rookies in this tournament. I like that. I like that the new star could form. I don't know with this one. I'm going to go with the upset here to me. I think McWeeny and Chandler are a very solid team. I think that they could be really good. Both have played in title matches, obviously, before. But I'm going to go with the new team of Seibold and the Movie Geek.
I think that's a very interesting choice. I mean, they're managed by Johnny LaQuasto, who has a bit of a chip on his shoulder after the collision. But I think that the two of them are going to be a force to be reckoned with because Hoyk knows his stuff. I mean, I used to watch him as the Movie Geek years ago, and he is incredible with his knowledge.
I'm going to give you my picks here. Roca and Merle, I'm going to take them over Marshall and Howard. I'm going to take Kalinowski and Ellison over Sylvestrini and Stewart. Going to go with Irwin and Graves over Bibiani and Nost, and I'm taking Riley and Bateman over Zipper and Fouch. On the other side of the bracket, I'm going Schneider and Andraco to match up against Duralde and Atchity, and I'm going with JTE and Lon Harris to go up against Seibold and the Movie Geek. Staying there, I will take Lon Harris and JTE over the Movie Geek and Cybold. And then I'm going to take Schneider and Andraco to see a matchup between the former team champions, putting JTE and Harris, I'm putting them in the finals. I'm going to put JTE and Harris in the finals, and I think we're going to have Riley and Bateman taking out Irwin and Graves, and then I believe, call it crazy, I'm going to say I'm going to take Kalinowski and Ellison over Roca and Merle. And I'm going to take Kalinowski and Ellison over Roca and Merle, and we have Kalinowski and Ellison and Riley and Bateman. I'm taking Kalinowski and Ellison, putting them in the finals against JTE and Harris, and I got JTE and Lon Harris winning the belts.
Wow, that is quite the bracket.
Crazy bracket.
That is a crazy bracket for a crazy tournament.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if your picks are correct in any way, shape, or form, because honestly, these matchups, none of us have seen before, so they're all new to us. No matter how well a player has done in the team's tournament or in the team's division over the years, they're partnered with a new person. They are managed by someone new. They're up against new factions and new teams. Anything goes in this tournament because we don't know what is going to happen under those lights.
So now it's up to you guys. Go ahead and fill out the bracket. That's right, fill out the bracket. Get it done. Winner, the first person to pick the right bracket, the first person to submit it. We'll look at the time you submitted it, and if you get it correct, you will get a prize sent to you if you can get it right. Now, also remember this. The last live event we're doing this year, and maybe for a little bit here, is going down, and it is the launch of the Schmoedown Team Anarchy. That's right. John Roca and Dan Merle going up against Stacy Howard and Winston Marshall. September 8th, 7 p.m. at the El Portal Theater. Get your tickets at schmoedownlive.com. The main event for the Inner Geekdom Championship of the World. The champion, Jason Justice Inman, defends the championship against the challenger and the winner of the Inner Geekdom tournament, the amazing Mara Kanopik, who now stands at an impressive 4-0. First Inner Geekdom challenger to ever be 4-0 going into a championship match. For Thad Williams, the commissioner, I am Christian Harloff, and we will see you guys this Friday when not only Roca and Bateman play, we have our first patron ever to play in a match against Rosie Knight. That's right, Matt Cruz makes his debut on Friday. Thank you guys. Join the Patreon today, patreon.com/Schmoedown. That's him. I'm me. See you next time.